In a year that's seen its fair share of winners and losers, renewable energy stocks have been on a tear. The Invesco Solar ETF, which tracks the largest companies involved with solar power, have surged more than 230% this year, compared to the S&P 500's modest gain of 15%. CNBC.com reporter Pippa Stevens is here with more. Pippa, it's good to see you. What's behind this big rally? I imagine it's Joe Biden's agenda.
Hey, Seema, good morning. Yeah, those numbers really are eye-popping. And there are four key factors really driving the surge in clean energy. The first is just economics. We've seen the cost of solar decline more than 70% over the last decade, meaning that it's now competitive, if not cheaper, than natural gas or coal power in many places. So while the industry might have once been driven by eco-conscious consumers, it's now really being driven by economics. ESG investing also playing a role here. We've seen enormous momentum behind the ESG strategy this year. We've seen that it's not just a bull market phenomenon. Investors really are prioritizing companies that factor in environmental, social, and governance factors. As you mentioned, Joe Biden certainly a key driver here. These stocks have done very well under the Trump administration. But there's a lot of optimism looking forward about what President-elect Joe Biden will mean for the industry. Of course, he's made climate change one of his priorities, called it one of 4 day one initiatives. So there's certainly a lot of optimism about what he will mean for greater adoption of renewable energy. And then finally, just climate change. We've seen that our grid is no match for wildfires, no match for hurricanes and flooding. So people are turning towards renewable energy for more grid resiliency.
How would you factor China into this story, Pippa? And what can the Biden administration do to incentivize more companies to buy solar panels and invest in solar panels here in the U.S.? Most of the solar panels that we buy right now are from China, as well as batteries as well.
Yeah, certainly. There's a lot of initiatives on the ground for more R&D in the U.S. to make U.S. manufacturers more competitive, to also ease back on some tariffs that would see greater production here on the ground in the U.S. But the U.S. really is leading the charge in research and development. We've seen a lot of initiatives on energy storage, which is, of course, the key factor that gives us renewable energy becoming more widespread, because of course it is an intermittent power source. So energy storage is a key initiative. And in the stimulus bill that was passed this morning by Trump, one of the outlined parameters does give some funding to greater R&D. And so investors are baking in some optimism around that with these stocks.
Clean energy has been such a winning trade. What are some of the biggest beneficiaries?
Yeah, so far this year, we've seen stocks like SunPower and SolarEdge. SunPower is a residential solar play. SolarEdge makes microinverters. Those are up 500% and more than 200%. Fuel cell companies, take a look at Plug Power, up more than 1,000% this year. And then, of course, Tesla, obviously an investor favorite, up nearly 700%, as well as China-based maker NIO, which is also in the EV space. That's seen its shares gain more than 1,000%. And looking forward, given the record run this year, there's definitely some calls that the sector might have seen its valuation stretch a little bit too far. But analysts say that there still is upside ahead for some key stocks. So Sunrun is the largest residential solar play. Investors are liking that one, as well as Hannon Armstrong, which finances clean energy projects. And then finally, analysts say that Enphase Energy is a good bet.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.